everybody, good morning. Doing a morning video, which is a little unusual for me. Got my cup of coffee here. Yum yum. Gonna do a video this morning on the top 10 things you can do to start prepping, or the top 10 things you need to do to start prepping. Prepping is all about self-reliance and doing things yourself. The business of prepping has exploded in the last 10 years as more and more people, as a result of 9/11 and Katrina and the downturn of our economy and the future outlook of our monetary value and inflation that's looming, more and more people are becoming concerned and more people are beginning to prep. And as a result, our industry has boomed over the last 10 years all around prepping. There are companies out there, some of them are very good, well-respected survival supply companies that are out there to make a buck on you. Yeah, they're selling good quality stuff, and a lot of preppers out there love them and buy a lot of their stuff, sure. But they're also out there to make a buck off of you. And to get started prepping doesn't necessarily mean you just go to your, one of these online companies and buy, their 5-year dehydrated food kit for $8,000. In my opinion, that's kind of more of a waste of money than anything else. And also, in my opinion, that kind of goes against the whole point of prepping, which is to be self-sufficient. So go out there, do this stuff yourself, get this stuff yourself. Start with the basics. Once you get these 10 things down, you can expand from there and grow however you want to grow. Okay, if you want to buy 10 years worth of dehydrated bacon and eggs, then by all means do. If you want to store white rice in Mylar bags and Home Depot buckets, go right on ahead. But this is where you need to start. Before you do those things, this is the stuff that you need to do. Okay, here's our top 10 list. Number 1, get yourself the best LED flashlight that you can afford. If you want to go out and buy a $300 police tactical flashlight, go ahead and do it. I think that's kind of a little bit of overkill, but if that's what you can afford, go out and do it. If you can't afford something like that, go buy a $15 LED flashlight from Walmart, if that's what you can afford. Okay, if you can get an extra bulb, go ahead and get one. If you can't, maybe buy 2 of these. Obviously, you want to get as many flashlights as you possibly can. The more the merrier, in my opinion. But at the very minimum, you want one good, reliable LED flashlight. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is you want to get batteries. A lot of people, how many batteries should I have? Well, the 2 most popular ones that I've heard as far as how many batteries you should have is you should have 10 batteries for every item that you have that uses that battery. The other one I've heard is that you should have the 50-25 thing. You should have 50 of your more common batteries, like your AA's and your AAA's, and then you should have 25 of your 9 volts, your C's, and your D's. That's a good starting point. Obviously, batteries keep for quite a while. They can keep anywhere from 5 to 10 years, depending on how you store them. So, you have plenty of time to work through them and replenish them when you need to. So don't be afraid to buy a lot of batteries. They are a little expensive. A box like that is probably about $10. So, they're not the cheapest thing in the world. So buy them, get kind of your basics down, start ramping them up as you go. So, but definitely batteries. You want as many batteries, different varieties of batteries, as you do the electronic devices that you have. Your battery-powered radios, your battery-powered lanterns, your flashlights, anything that you have that takes batteries, you want to make sure you have backups for them. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is a first aid kit. Again, I'm a big proponent of making your own first aid kit. I think that's the only way that you're going to get the best bang for your buck. It's not that expensive to make them. You can go out there and buy these pre-made first aid kits and spend a lot of money on them. In my opinion, again, like the kind of beginning prepper packages you can get online, it's not the best bang for your buck. You get a lot of stuff you don't necessarily need. I'm not here to break down and tell you exactly what you need in a first aid kit in this particular video, but again, in my opinion, you should do it yourself to make sure that you got all the things that you need. Everybody lives in a slightly different area, in different cultures, different climates, have different health needs, different sized families, different health needs within their families. Everybody's a little bit different. I think everybody should make their own first aid kit. But if you don't want to take the time to do that, at least very minimum, go out and buy a good first aid kit. Okay. So number 4 is water. You want to have a storage of water. If you're on the cheap, if you're on the budget, go out to Walmart, buy some 5-gallon water containers, bring them home, fill them up with water, stick them in your basement or something. You know, every couple of weeks, bring them back up, dump the water out, sanitize the buckets, and refill them. That's a good way to start, okay, especially if you're on a budget. The next thing you can do is begin to stockpile like bottled water, cases of bottled water. It's a little bit more expensive to do it that way, but definitely works well. That's easy because it's a little easier to kind of go through it because it's just in single serving bottles. So it's a little easier to kind of rotate through. What my family does is we have a a water cooler in our kitchen, one of those 5-gallon water cooler thing, kind of thing. We have those, and we have extra water containers down in the basement. So we always have actually quite a bit of water on hand. So that's a good thing to do too. I'm a big fan of those. Morning coffee, very good. In addition to your water storage, you want to also have at least two ways to purify water. The 5 ways to purify water, and I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head, so if I'm missing something or if I'm getting something wrong, I'm sure people will tell me. But the 5 ways to purify water are to boil it, filter it, treat it with chemicals, solar purification with sun, or to collect water like dew and rainwater and stuff like that. So you want to have at least 2 of those in addition to your water storage. So obviously you can boil water. That's an easy one. You can, if you have a propane grill out back, that's a good heat source for boiling water. If the power goes out, if you have a fireplace in your house and wood, that's a good place to boil water if the power goes out. If you have like a little Coleman stove or a little camp stove, those are also very good. Some way in addition to your stove range in your house, you want to have some other backup way to boil water. Number 2, another really popular one is to get one of those pump water filters that you can buy at like camping and hiking supply stores or online and things like that. Get one of those, buy some extra filters, so you have at least 2 ways to purify water, and then also have your water storage. To expand, you can always bring in more ways to purify water, but you should at least have those 2. Next is fire. Fire is very similar to water. You want to have at least 2 ways to start fire. And that's what I mean by being similar to water. You want to have at least 2 ways to start fire. Matches and lighters are, of course, probably the 2 easiest. Whether it's just lighting a candle or lighting your propane heater if the power goes out, or the heater goes out or something like that, or lighting your fireplace, or lighting your gas grill or whatever. It's not a bad idea to have a couple of these on hand too, these long kind of stick lighters. Nice thing about them is they're, you can get them down into propane heaters and stuff like that to light them if you need to. They also are larger, so you can hold more fuel, so they last longer. Those are good to have too. So it's not a bad idea too to have at least one waterproof method of starting fire, whether it's a flint and steel or whatever, or waterproof matches or something like that. Some sort of waterproof way to make fire is not a bad idea to have to, but you want at least 2 different ways. Okay. Number 6 is the big one. Number 6 is food. So get out your pencils and paper. I'm going to give you your basic grocery list to take to the grocery store right now and go buy food. Okay? I put this grocery list together so that it's the easiest for you to just jot down. It's simple to understand. It's easy to write down, that you can go and you can get your basic food storage started. Okay? So here's what you want to get. This is it. It's real easy. Okay? You want to get 1 20-pound bag of rice. You can either get white rice or brown rice. White rice will keep longer. Brown rice won't keep as long, but it has more nutritional value, so there's your trade-off. You don't need to do the Mylar thing in the bucket and all that kind of jazz. Bring it home, food save it, throw it in the freezer. It'll be fine for quite a while. Just make sure you rotate through it when it needs to be. Okay? You don't need to store stuff for 25 years all the time. You can definitely expand out to start doing that once you've accomplished this top 10 list, but you don't need to do that at this point in time. Okay? The big thing is just to have some of that stuff on hand. Okay? So 20-pound bag of rice, 1 20-pound bag of dried beans, whatever beans you like, pinto beans or kidney beans or black-eyed peas, whatever you want. Then you want to go down to the canned aisle. You want to get 20 cans of canned fruit. Mix it up, whatever you like. Okay. 20 cans of canned vegetables. Again, mix it up, whatever you like. Okay? And then 20 cans of canned meat. And don't just get 20 cans of Spam. Get some Spam, definitely. Spam's always good. But get some other things too. Get some tuna, get some canned chicken, get some canned salmon. If you never had something like a canned salmon or something like that, if you've never had it before, you don't know if you like it, buy a can of it, bring it home, try it, see if you like it. If you like it, go back, buy more. If you don't, buy more of something else. So again, 20 of each of those: canned fruit, canned vegetables, and canned meat. 20 of each. Next thing you want to do is you want to get 2 large containers of peanut butter. Okay, the largest container that you can get at the grocery store is plenty big. 2 large containers of peanut butter. Okay, peanut butter is a great source of protein. Tastes good. It's very satisfying. It's a wonder food, really. So get 2 containers of those. Get 2 large containers, the largest that you can get, of Tang. Okay, drink mix. Tang is fortified with 100% of your daily intake of vitamin C. So that's good stuff to have around. It's also good to have a couple of get like 2 boxes or containers, whatever, of a powdered drink mix, like Crystal Light or Kool-Aid or whatever you like. Again, part of which is just to kind of take the monotony out of water, and part of which might be to cover up the taste of purification of water, whether you're kind of covering up a chemically kind of taste to it, or sometimes even after you treat it, it still has a little bit of a funk to it. So it's nice to be able to flavor it with something. And then you want to get 2 bags of flour. Obviously you can get more if you want to, but you want to start out with at least 2 bags of flour. Then you want to get 1 bag of sugar, 1 bag of salt, 1 bag of oats, preferably rolled oats, and 1 gallon of olive oil. And you can freeze olive oil, so you can keep it for quite a while. So that's your food list. So there you go. Go out, get that list. It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but not too bad. It's definitely a lot cheaper than buying dehydrated eggs to last you, 6 months or something like that. It's definitely cheaper than buying MREs. That's a good list to have, though. That will definitely get you started. From there, you can expand on. You can buy a couple cases of MREs. You can start to do your Mylar, bucket, long-term food storage kind of thing. You can grow from there, but that's definitely your basics. So you do that, you'll be covered. Moving on, number 7. Actually, I have 2 different things. Number 7 is a corded phone. You want to have some sort of corded phone, an old-fashioned corded phone. A lot of us nowadays have cordless phones in our homes, and also we have cell phones. Well, cell phones is not what I consider to be a reliable source of communication. Obviously, if they work after a storm or something like that, that's great. But if they don't, if the towers get knocked down or something like that, you're not going to have your phone. Also, it's very limited to battery life, so you might not have it for very long before the power goes out, the battery dies. It's not a bad idea to have maybe a solar charger, but that's not your top 10 list. That's going to come later on down, kind of expanding your prep list. But so you don't want to rely on your cell phone. If it's there, great, but not something you want to rely on. It's a good idea to have just a regular corded phone that in case the power goes out, you can plug it into your phone jack. A lot of times, even though the power goes out, the phone jack will still work. So have a regular old-fashioned basic corded phone so you can still make phone calls, check on relatives, stuff like that, tell people you're okay, whatever you need to do, have some sort of contact with the outside world. If you have a situation where you don't have a regular phone service, for instance, if you have one of these like all-inclusive digital phone package things like AT&T Uverse or something like that, those are going to be powered. So if the power goes out, it's going out regardless of your phone. So those will have some sort of powered module either mounted to the outside of your home or down in the basement or something like that. And if the power goes out, you're going to lose your phone regardless of if you have a corded phone or not. So in that case, if you're in that boat, what I would recommend is instead of getting a corded phone, for number 7, get a hand crank emergency radio. So at least you have some way to gather information. And again, get some extra batteries for it if you can. Number 8 are wool blankets. You want to get a wool blanket for at least everyone in the family, and then probably a couple extras. Wool blankets are nice because they're naturally fire retardant, and they will keep you warm even if they're wet. And they're relatively inexpensive. You can get brand new military issue wool blankets for like $35. You can get used ones for a lot cheaper. So get a couple of wool blankets. The big thing is you want 100% wool. Okay, don't get the nylon mix ones or anything like that. Get 100% wool. The military issue ones are probably the best. So, number 9 is you want to get supplements. I didn't put this in the food section. I'm putting this in its own section. You want to get vitamin supplements. These one-a-day vitamins, one-a-day is a brand name, but these, you know, kind of all-inclusive, 100% of everything, kind of one-a-day vitamins that you want to get. You want to get a couple bottles of them, at least 400 pills. If you can buy bulk, great. You want to have that. This would definitely going to be in a case if you are in a situation where your food intake is compromised, you're maybe not getting full nutritious meals every day. You know, you can definitely supplement that with some vitamin supplements. It's not going to, you know, save your butt in the long run as far as diminished food supply, but it definitely in the short term will help keep you, you know, all the vitamins and minerals flowing. So those are a good thing to have. Number 10, again, we're assuming you have a weapon. Number 10 is to buy ammunition for that weapon. At least 250 rounds for your primary defensive home protection weapon. If you have more than one weapon, you obviously want to make sure you have enough ammunition for everything. 250 rounds is the basic amount of ammunition you should have. If you want to grow it from there, obviously that's a good idea. But at least 250 rounds. And again, if you have more than one weapon, you want to make sure you have ammunition for all of them. So that's my top 10 list in a very quick review. Number 1, LED flashlight. Number 2, batteries. Number 3, a first aid kit. Number 4, water plus 2 ways to purify water. Number 5 is fire plus 2 ways to start fire. So basically that's just 2 ways to start fire. 6 is food, and I gave you a little grocery list. 7 is a corded phone or an emergency hand crank radio. Number 8 is wool blankets. Number 9 is vitamin supplements, and number 10 is ammunition. So there you go. There's your top 10 list. Go out. You can take a weekend and a few $100s, go out and buy that list. Get it together. Do it as soon as you can. Once you get that list down, you can start doing the Home Depot buckets with Mylar bags and the generators and the grocery store in the basement and all that kind of stuff, and the wall of AR-15s, whatever you want to do from there. Go ahead and do. But this is where you want to start. Top 10 list. Hope you enjoyed. Take it easy.